Welcome to the Expansive CEO podcast. I'm your host, Hannah Chapman, founder of Expansive CEO and X Squared Wealth Planning. Buckle in as we explore how to create true prosperity and build a business and a life that expands beyond yourself and makes a dent in the universe. Welcome, everyone, to this episode of the Expansive CEO podcast. I am your host, Hannah Chapman, and today I have a dear friend on the podcast with me today. I'm so excited for this conversation. I've wanted to have you on for a while now. And so this is really, really special for me. So Tim Wolf, who is the founder of CommunityEngine.ai, is here with us today. He is a fellow human design nerd like me, so we get to nerd out about that quite a bit. And he is a tech genius, truly so gifted with technology and helping conscious leaders with communities build more sustainable communities, be able to manage them more easily, understand their technology, all of that. And we're going to talk about community and human design and interdependence and all of these beautiful things today. So Tim, thank you for being here with me today. I would love for you to tell the audience more about who you are, what you do, why you do it.
Awesome. Yeah. So first off, just thank you for having me. Really looking forward to this conversation. Yeah, it seems like it got pushed back a few times, so I can only assume that now is the right time. So
Exactly.
it's great. Yeah, so I think, for me, one of the biggest things or one of the simplest things I always say is that I have the ability to speak CEO, geek, and woo all at the same time. And so bringing together those, radically different skill sets is, I mean, it's a passion of mine, and it's something that I guess really bridges all the things that I like to do, bringing them all together. So I think that's really important anytime we're in our gifts, right? To have those unique pieces that we can pull and bring together in a new way. So those are mine, I would say. But yeah, we founder of CommunityEngine.ai, and they were really focused on helping like purpose-led entrepreneurs who want to evolve humanity through a community. And we provide technology, training, support, whatever they need to succeed. And I guess more simply, we help them kind of activate or launch their community, automate all the processes or, the team that they work with around that community, and then accelerate its growth. And all that related to the technology that you use. So, yeah, that's basically what we do. We have my favorite thing to do is work with people who are very purpose driven, have a vision for building incredible communities, helping a lot of people. And, no matter if you help, a small number of people in a big way or a large number of people in a big way, it's, it just matters that you have the right support and the right things around you to help you so you can stay in your gifts. And so that's what we're here to help people do. So
Oh, I love that. And I think one of the reasons among many that we connect so much is that exactly when you said I speak CEO, geek, and woo, like, oh yeah, just replace geek with finance and CEO, finance, and woo, like put them all
yeah,
together. There's a
totally.
real, it's like the tangible, right? So
Mhm.
it's the spiritual, it's the woo side, but also like how do we then apply this in a way that makes sense, that moves business forward, and when we move business forward, we in a conscious way, we move humanity forward in a
Yeah.
conscious way as well. And I think that fundamental belief, I think we share rather that
Yeah.
fundamental belief.
Yeah. It's all together. Spirituality is physical, that's
Hmm. Yes. Okay, so we didn't talk about this before the podcast, but it was like that we have to talk about this because I think it leads into this journey of, community building in
Mhm.
a really beautiful way. And maybe you know what I'm going to ask about. So a couple years ago, you spent a good amount of time in the dark, right?
Yes.
On your
Yes.
darkness retreat, silence, all by yourself, right? And
Yeah.
this is like pulling that into sort of this conversation around self-sufficiency, self-reliance, leaning into your gifts, leaning into who you are, and then also the undeniable importance of community in our lives as human beings.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to like open up with that story if you're like game for
Yeah.
talking about it, because I think it's such a funny like, hey, we're talking about community, but you are like you went through an intense darkness retreat. So let's go there.
Yeah, yeah. And I was like, technically it wasn't silent. I enjoy singing as well. And so I sang to myself in the darkness too, which was that was quite an experience in and of itself, everything being completely dark and just hearing the vibration of what I was singing. That was so cool. But yeah, I spent 10 days in the dark, and it was quite not just while I was there, but even leading up to it. Connecting with people in my business, making sure they were set up, just like letting go of what would happen while I was in there. Because, for 10 days, no matter what happened, if there's a big issue with someone's website or in my business, like someone had to be there to support that. And, I definitely had to rely on those people around me just to have that experience, which, the experience itself was really profound too. And yeah, but while I was in there, when you go into a situation like that and just really get in touch with who you are, and there's no barriers between you and the rest, including visual barriers, right? So all you can do for that 10 days is really either, well, I mean, you can try to distract yourself if that's your if you're just trying to get through it, but typically uh, you know, you really have to have a strong sense of, paying attention to who you are, being that surrounding. There's just a lot of amazing experiences happened in there. I don't know how much of that you want me to go into, but um, one of the biggest ones, I will say, there was a day that, well, while I was in there, I had this plan to, a couple days in, I was like, okay, I'm going to focus on like healing, and I'm going to sort of theme every day around one of my chakras. And so, like, taking the seven chakras. And the day that I did the heart chakra, it was, I spent, the first, I don't really have a sense of time as so much, other than we saw, I got meals twice a day. So that was my only like connection to time. But that first half of the heart day, I just really spent in gratitude. And I actually had a journal in there where I would hold my like hand on the page and kind of write as I went down. When you open it and look at it, it's like they're scrawling all over the place, but it's still legible. So I was able to kind of take notes in the dark. But I sat down and just started kind of making a list of all of the things that I was grateful for, and all the people in my life that I was grateful for, and just connecting to them. And all of a sudden just kind of felt a presence of my whole spiritual team is the only way I can describe it. It was I saw or sensed ancestors, spirit animals, like the teachers and healers, and everyone just kind of there with me. And it was all at once, both the most like powerful and grateful that I'd ever felt, like very humble but powerful feeling. And it felt like I had an army at my back, and whatever I was here to do in the world, that they would always be there every step of the way. Um, and I can still, right now, harken back and feel that feeling. And there were other things that happened too, but that was probably one of the ones that has really stuck with me and like probably had the most impact on me. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, it's even when you're alone, you're in community.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I knew there was a reason I needed to ask about that because it really goes straight into I love that takeaway that even when you're alone, you're in community,
Hmm.
and that then when you can bring that to community, how much more powerful would we all be together,
Yeah.
in a community of humans where each one of us feels that sense of, I've got my own back and I've got your back and my team has my back, right? We are all like protected,
Yeah.
covered, connected.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It was. Yeah. I'm just feeling it right now, I think. But um, yeah. I mean, just knowing all of, just knowing everything that in each of our lives, everything you've had and everyone who's supported where you are up into this point, even if you feel like you haven't been supported, I know there, if you think back, if you feel back, there will always be people who have been there along the way and supported your journey, and living from that place of gratitude. I think it's like, Sir Isaac Newton who said, I think it was him who said, like, we stand on the shoulder of giants. um could be wrong with who that was, um
You can check it
but
later.
yeah, yeah, fact check me. No. um but the that saying, he was talking about it in terms of like science and physics and things like that, but it's true for every little moment of our lives, everything that we're really here to do. Our soul's mission on this planet is, guided every step of the way, even when we don't see it. Hindsight is 2020, to continue to give colloquialisms here, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Steve Jobs, you can't connect the dots until you can look
Hmm.
backwards and see how they connected.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Well, and
Yeah.
that's why, what you were talking about earlier with like finance, woo, and CEO, it's like you had to go through different stages of your life in order to find those three like pieces, right? And same with me, but for tech. And uh and you would never be able to do what you're doing today had you not had all those components. So
Yeah. Oh, that's so, so true. That's so true. And even thinking back to, gosh, so when we first met was 2 years ago ish. I think about 2 years ago. It's July of 2024 right now. So yeah, I
that
think it was
sounds about right.
maybe like May, June. Maybe it was May of 2022 when I joined the mastermind.
Hmm. Yeah.
That we were part of for a good year and a half, and that has grown and evolved and expanded in different ways. But one of the it was interesting. I mean, I was coming off of in 2022, I was a little bit more removed from it, but the professional kind of trauma that I had gone through before starting X squared, um, it was a lot. It was a very much a, you know, put me through several dark nights of the soul. Um, Going through that, being grounded in who I am and what I'm here to do and my purpose. And um so I was in a big state of transition, still learning, still solidifying my business for sure. And I remember you were at the time still like a chief technology officer for another company in addition to running your company at the time. And so
Yeah.
there was a lot of you know, stuff going around about that, about like, who am I really here to serve? What am I really here
Mhm.
to do? A lot of questioning. Um, so yeah, how would you feel? How would you say that having community around you? So like even our little mastermind that we had, and I'm sure you had other community around you too, but how did that help you in making these decisions and making these shifts into like getting clearer and more defined on your purpose and what you want to do?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. One is, having those people who can reflect back to you. So, and call you out when needed, So it's like that experience of being able to share what you're feeling, what you're going through, getting feedback from that, and then, being able to change. The other thing is that I think it really grounds you because you have this sort of, rock that you're returning to, whether it's every week, every month, whatever it looks like when you're connecting in a mastermind like that, or other groups that you have. And, when you focus on, or when you have the opportunity to come back and you have that little loop where you can, like, I'm going to go away and then I'm going to come back, like that create, I talk about this actually in a book that I'm working on, which is a whole nother story. But your environment is your safety net, or your community is your safety net. So, when you have the stability like that, you're able to go further, try more things, knowing that you have that community to fall back on, whether that's family, whether that's friends, or a mastermind group, right? So, um, I think that's just really, that's probably one of the most important points, is that it's both like an anchor and a rock, and allows you to push further than you could otherwise.
Hmm. Yeah, I have definitely felt that as well, right? In different groups that I've been in. I believe that for most of us, maybe all of us, humans, like all of
Mm-hmm.
us, um, that relationship, being in relationship with other people is what triggers our growth over and
Yeah.
over and over again, right? When we isolate, when we stay completely to ourselves, when we shut out anyone else and we don't allow anyone in, we also don't allow growth because we're not bumping up against our rough edges,
Right.
or, our cliff edges or anything else. We're not allowing ourselves to bump up against our fears or our doubts, or, the things that give us great joy even.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I do think there's times when it's important to take your space, take your alone time, and, you know, sort of rediscover who you are. Like, sometimes that's important because, while I think you're absolutely right, like the other side of it is that sometimes those reflections that you get back start to feel like, oh, that's not who I want to be, and so when you start to feel that, sometimes it's important to get out of that environment that you're in. And, not that you won't come back, right? Because you still will, but, or you might, but to take time away to really feel that, which is like, that's what I felt like the darkness experience, for example, was for me. Like, let's shut literally everything off and, like, figure this thing out, um so, but I mean, you definitely don't have to be that extreme with it to get benefits of it. But, taking that kind of dedicated time to remember who you are in the midst of community is also very important, and also provides strength for both you and the community you're a part of. So,
ooh, the thing as you were talking, the thing that was coming through for me on that was more around, or also around, like, there are times when the community that you're a part of is no longer, right? Like you're saying, the
mm,
reflection is not, that's not who I am anymore. And that's a piece of this, I think, even with what you're doing and what you're talking about, like propping up lots of different leaders and communities and all that, is that
mm,
not only is there like a different place for every person, a different community for every person, as we grow and evolve, we're also likely going to grow and evolve into other communities and need different things at different parts of our journey along the way.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, if the reflection that you're getting right now is not, like you said, like not the reflection, not who you feel is like truly you at this point in time, then it's, that's such a good, I love that, the description that you had of that, like, it is important to go be in your own energy and understand, okay, who am I right now?
Mm.
And then like find community that fits new, it's almost like, um, let's say a snake or a crab. There are all kinds of things, right? That have like a shell or a skin, right? Oh, you've grown and you're shedding the old version of
Right.
yourself to come into the new.
Yeah. One of my old clients, you know, told me once, it's just always kind of stuck with me. It's like, if you always need me, then I'm not doing you the proper service. So, like, when, the best thing that can happen with a client is getting to a point where they're like, I don't need, I can do this on my own. I don't need you anymore, and like, that's the win. Like,
Yeah.
that's an ultimate win. And I think that's what you're talking about. At that point, it's like, all right, how can we send them off and help them find, the next thing for them, whatever that is, so they can continue their growth. And I think it's also important when, you're thinking of like teaching and building in a community and understanding that like growth path that people will go through. It's like, where's the edge when it's like, okay, I'm providing them my best work, but as it starts to, as they reach a certain point, that starts to be less of a need for them. And, it even can become a, uh, something holding them back. Right.
Mm.
So being really aware of that whole journey from, like, if I'm in my gifts and doing, the best I know how, where's the place that people start with me? Where's the place that people end with me? And like understanding that full customer journey, for someone who's running a community is really important.
Ooh, yeah, that is
Mhm.
really, really important because I think not everyone, but especially when you're starting in business, I hear this a lot from new entrepreneurs, right? Is that I can serve everyone. What
Yeah.
I do is good. Everybody needs what I do. Like,
Yeah. And you need to
what?
work with me forever, you
Right.
know?
Right. Yeah. You'll never be rid of me.
Yeah.
There are, it- it's like, to me, when I hear that, there's a sense of, there is a sense of fear
Mm.
underneath that, right? That like if I get specific, if I and whatever that means, right? It could be a specific niche of people, it could be um a specific place where people are on their journey in whatever that is,
Right.
specific industry, whatever. There's fear around, oh yeah, like what if I get these clients and then they leave? Like, well, that's part of the thing.
Part of the journey. Yeah.
Right? It's
Yeah.
just what it is. I can say, in X squared, um, financial advising does tend to, like, there is more stickiness there. That
Right.
one's it's a little bit different. But at the same time, when I have had plenty of clients come in and go out, right? They're like that. If I were to hold on to, like, choke hold every single client and be like, "What can I do to keep you? What's wrong? What do we need to do?" That means that I am actually not in my greatest service.
Yeah.
And it's the clients, for me, for the way that I work, that are on a similar growth path, and we're coming together. And so I was just talking to a client about this yesterday, actually. He's one that's been with me for more than 2 years at this point. Um, which isn't super long. I've had clients for much longer than that as well, but for him, like, he's been through kind of like a big growth,
Spurt.
time with me. Yeah, a growth spurt, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Where other people that came in at the same time as him have fallen away. And I've had
Mm.
several clients from about that same period where like we really are on a similar growth path, and they've stayed with me while others have, found somewhere else that was better for them. And that, I think, if you're allowing yourself to grow and evolve as a leader while also, making that super clear for your community, like you're saying, those boundaries of like, here's the thing that is part of my heart. Here's where I'm helping people the most. One of the ways
Mhm.
that I like to describe this, and then I'll turn it back over to you.
Yep.
The niche, like truly as providers, our niche should be where we can pour out from our heart, like just pour all the value that's inside that we can't wait to share, right? Like, oh my gosh, I can pour everything here. And the person who is your energetic match is the one who can receive it,
Yeah.
who can like hold all and be like, yes, this is exactly what I need. This is what I want. It's not, if we see it as like a bucket, you're not pouring a bucket into a jar jam, right? And it's just spilling everywhere. And they can't even receive everything that you're ready to give.
Yeah.
That's, that's your niche. Who is here? Who is prepared to receive everything that you can't wait to give? And then when they're ready for something else, they get to go somewhere else.
Yeah, totally. And, a couple things here. I mean, one, like the other side of this is also that you're always growing. So there's always going to be people who are, evolving faster than you are, and people who can't keep up. So or who aren't, I shouldn't say can't keep up, they just don't, they're not keeping up, So
Growing at a different pace.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And so it's just like as you grow and evolve, and as your community grows and evolves, you know continue to keep that circle tight, like you're talking about, is like those people you can pour into, and be very upfront with those who are, need to go somewhere else because they need to learn something else, or people who you've kind of grown past and you can't fully support anymore, by just standing in the gifts that help the most people around you, Um, Also, I've had, the second thing is that, I've had a lot of clients who are like launching the community. So just starting to launch them. And it's really rough sometimes as they kind of, figure out their flow. And, they'll have periods where, they'll have had some clients come in, and, they'll have helped those clients, and those they start to leave, either because the new way the community is headed, because it changes so fast when you're small, the new way the community is headed doesn't necessarily align with them, or they've gotten what they needed and are ready to move on. And it can create, kind of like you're talking about, some of those freak out moments, or it's like, oh, am I even here, am I even doing the right thing that I'm supposed to be doing? And you just have to trust that where you're going, and as you evolve, like you said, the right people will show up if you continue to stand in, you know the present day energy that you're putting off, and announce that. So no, I think that's a really, the way you pull that together, I really like that.
Well, now I think we're like right. I can't wait to talk about it because we're getting right into like the heart of human design, and right, and some of the things that I love to teach and talk about. One of which I think, when we're talking about the people that you're here to serve, and who you're meant to be magnetizing, um, is part of the prosperity sequence in the gene keys in the culture sphere.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so, if anyone wants to learn more about that, you can go onto YouTube. I've got videos talking about culture sphere. Um, it's fascinating, and I absolutely love it. I think it's so, so important, um, to start to know these things about yourself, right? What's the energy that you carry as in this lifetime that you were imprinted with? Um, what is that energy of, this is how I'm meant to connect with people. This is the energy I'm meant to be in, and that will draw those right people to me. Um, but so this is one of the things when the first time we had an in-person that I was part of the mastermind, and we had an
Yeah.
in-person um weekend. It was super fun, and we got to just like I hadn't at that point, I really hadn't had another person to like nerd out on human design with. Which seems so weird now, right? Because I'm just talking
Yeah.
about it like all the time. But really, back then, I didn't really have anyone else. And certainly hadn't met someone who was like, "Oh yeah, let's talk about it." Like super excited. So that was certainly one thing that also it made me feel, I'm going to say it actually made me feel safer.
Mm,
Like safe to be seen and safe to, I at that point I was still covering up that woo side a lot
mm,
on on the face of everything, um, which seems crazy now to think about,
yeah.
but I was really nervous. I was really nervous to like be open about it, and your energy around that was like so encouraging for me. So, thank
Oh,
you.
I didn't know that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's really beautiful also is that you're a manifester, right? A 3-6. Is that right?
3-6. Yeah.
3-6 emotional manifester. And I'm a 6-2 sacral manifesting generator. So we're very, very different.
Yeah,
Super
for sure.
different design. And it's been just so much fun to learn. And so that's what I love is like, I see like your manifester energy um as being just a really powerful aspect of you in helping other people initiate things,
Mm,
right? Like what is
mm,
it? Like your initiator energy is there like on tap for you as people are launching communities and building things out. Like that's a really important imprint that you have, that a lot of people, it's only what 8 to 9% of the population are manifestors. It's not very many.
yeah.
It's a special gift that you bring too.
Yeah, I definitely love launching things, sometimes too many things, but that's when I get into your territory. No,
Yeah, that's me. I'm a manifesting generator. I do all the
no,
things.
but yeah, it's been interesting for me too. I've, using that in business, like I've learned that, I'm really great at helping people when they need to get a community off the ground, and or set them up in a new way that kind of creates a new path forward for them as a business, just being able, whether it's being able to automate, whatever it is. But um, and I've had to lean into, bringing on other team members who are better equipped to deal with, the ongoing nature, some of the community management stuff that we're working on and things like that, because that's where they shine, and but yeah, for our clients, I mean, I love working with people who it's like, hey, I have a vision for a community that I want to build. I feel really called to do it, like, and I'm in. I'll invest. I'll build. I'll do what I need to do to create this because I feel really called to it. But I have nothing, and I don't know what to do. Like I have I actually love working with those people, and it's, it's great. And sometimes working with, it's common to hear, in the marketing space especially, it's like, oh, go work with the bigger client, and they're the ones who can pay, they're the one, all these things. But man, there's just something about helping someone birth something that I love. And um so definitely doesn't mean you need to have nothing to work with me and feel some of that impact. But I will say that that's probably my place I really shine, just helping people figure out what it's going to look like, um and really bring that dream to reality and
Mhm.
see it especially when it's something where someone's like, no one else is doing this, but I know it needs to be done. Like
Mm.
that's yeah, you got me hook, line, and sinker with that one.
Like I'm in, I'm all in. Okay, two things just came to mind. One, uh, the term community doula just came to my mind. The one who helps birth community.
Yeah.
Job of a doula. So I love that. I love that. You can keep it. And right,
I
the
don't know
other,
if that's me or not, but
I don't
it,
know.
it makes sense. I will say that it's
You
like
have that energy
definitely that
about
vibe.
right that
Yeah.
like that um there's a presence of safety, of care, of community,
Mhm.
like about you, right?
Yeah.
That you exude. So
That's
makes
fair.
sense to me.
I'll take it. That's fair.
Okay. Tim Wolf, the community doula. I love it. But then the other thing, especially that six in your profile, right? The 3 6 in your
Mhm.
profile, that six line is so powerful in its ability to hold the vision, right?
Mm.
The sixth line is the line of, there's a lot of visionary energy with it. And what I have found is that my other clients, so I'm a 6-2, so I also have that six line in my profile. I have other clients who have, 6-2 profiles, sixes in their profiles, or throughout their human design chart, is the ability to hold the vision with someone else as well.
Mhm.
Right. And
Mhm.
so if you have someone who has a big vision, sometimes, other types of people, they've been what I have experienced is that a lot of times visionaries are like not talked down to, but like, are you sure? I don't know. That's too big. Or, like discouraged from the bigness of their dreams by
I like
people.
to amp them up.
Exactly. Right? Yeah, like let's add some like juice. Let's add some
Yeah.
kerosene to this fire. Yeah, and in the same vein, like I feel like that's part of my purpose as well, is
Mhm.
that visionaries who have this, a big vision for the impact that they want to make for the people that they want to help. I I'm like, I can see that. You're painting this
Yeah.
picture. I got you. I see that with you here. Let me hold this piece
Mhm.
with you and for you. And I
Yeah.
feel like you're like exactly that same energy on the tech side, on the like, let's do this thing. Like I can see it with you. Here's the technology that's going to support that vision, that's going to allow it to come to life easily.
Yeah, the systems to support it and
Hmm. But it's that like the energy of that is I see that with you.
mm,
I can hold that with you.
yeah.
Is really important.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I definitely have been in lots of partnerships. I mean that I was working for a client, but partnership is what is the vibe of the arrangement that I'd have with people, and it was always still is just coming together to build something together. When I think about it like that, it's if I can leave my little imprint and support on thousands of communities like that would be amazing, and each of them being able to get launched and then run on their own. That's definitely, I mean, that's exactly what we're doing. So
Mhm.
I love it.
Mm. I'm so happy to have been able to witness you over the last couple of years while all
Hmm.
of this has been like shifting and changing and figuring it out and how do you want to implement it,
Yeah.
um and then to see, yeah, just to see it working and coalescing and like getting clearer and clearer. um yeah, I think it's been such a cool couple of years, truly. I mean, I don't know,
Yeah.
how do you feel?
No, yeah, it's like definitely not a straight line, by any means, but it's been great. I think that I mean, over the last couple of years, I've done a number of things, number of different directions, and I feel like just in the last couple of months, the last few months, it's like, it's that same like hindsight is 2020 thing. Like all of them are kind of coming together, and it's like, oh, this is how all the pieces fit,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And um, the clients that we're working with now, the direction that we're going with the team, the training and stuff that I'm creating, and the technology that we have access to. It's just all really, it's all coming together, and um, I think we're, I'm ready and time is ready, so it's the right time to do it.
Mm, I love it. I love it. So if someone is listening and either they are ready to birth that community, they need their community doula, or they know someone else, right? Who's like, oh, this person has been talking about this forever, right? Like, and you're listening and you're like, oh, so first of all, you can send them the podcast, right? Listen to this. Hear Tim talk about all the cool things that he's doing. And then how can they reach out and get a hold of you?
Yeah, I would just send me an email. They can check out our website, communityengineai.com. You can email me, tim@communityengine.ai. And if you are interested, we can, I'm definitely open to getting on a call, hearing your vision for your community, and seeing if there's a way that we can support. If nothing else, I'll point you in the right direction of resources. But yeah, I love to anyone who has an idea and a vision for a community in general. I'd just love to connect with and meet them and see if we can support each other. Like that's really where I'm at, building those relationships right now. So we are going to be launching a Facebook group as well, which it's not out yet. So I'll make sure you have that for the show notes. Um, but yeah, there'll be a place there you can come and share and ask questions about your community that you want to create. The right stack and technology to use for it. Anything like that, we'll be happy to support with there as well. And you can also you'll be able to message me in that group too. And yeah, ultimately to me, it comes down to let's connect and chat.
Yeah. Tim's a good guy. You want to talk to him. I promise. Well, Tim, thank you so much for sharing this time with me. I'm so excited that we got to, like we said, finally, like it was the right time to be able to
Mhm.
record and to really like send out this invitation, right? To anyone
Yeah.
who's been thinking about it. I feel like community building is really ramping up in general. It has been for a while, but it's different. The energy behind it is different going
Yeah,
into the next couple of years.
yeah, it's gonna be really needed. A lot of things happening in the current environment where community is going to be more and more necessary. So
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
definitely that's I'm feeling a big push to do a lot of this because of that as well. Because I think a lot of people are, I mean, beyond just a lot of people waking up and a lot of people understanding at a deeper level what's going on in the world. Uh, they're going to need support, and I think it's up to us as community leaders to show them the way. So
Mhm. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. If anyone has any questions, as always, please reach out. I would also, as always, love to hear what resonates for you. If you have any questions, anything that this conversation has sparked, love to hear about that. You can email me at Hannah, Hannah, at expansiveceo.com. And if you have any questions too, like send those along. I love to get those and to answer those on the podcast. And again, Tim mentioned all of his stuff. That'll be in the show notes as well. So it's super easy to find. And I hope everyone is finding their community. And, if you're in community and you're looking for, whatever that right next thing for you is, if you feel like, oh, I'm supposed to build it, there might be a reason for that. We've got we've got resources for you for that. So check it out, get a hold of Tim, and as always, can't wait to talk to you again soon. Thanks, everyone. That's it for this episode. Thanks for listening, and be sure to like and subscribe. And again, if anything resonated with you from this episode, I would love to hear from you. Email me at Hannah, HANNAH, at expansiveceo.com and tell me about it. And if you're ready for your greatest expansion, you can find ways to work with me at expansiveceo.com and at x2wealthplanning.com. That's X, the numeral 2, wealthplanning.com. So until next time, remember that there is enough, you are enough, and your birthright in this lifetime is to be expansive.